Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Football Manager 2019 with Zebu Nation. We are, of course, back with FC Cincinnati in Major League Soccer. The 2019 MLS season is rolling on. But first, I have to explain that, after the last episode, I had a little bit of a panic attack. Because we cheesed that waiver draft. We brought in all those players. I was worried. I was upset. Did we cheese the system too much? Did we make the team too good? Did we ruin the save by doing that? Are people going to lose interest in the save? Did we make the team worse by doing that? By bringing in all those players? Are we going to ruin the dynamics? I started having all these thoughts going through my head. So I got a little anxious, and I started playing games just to see what happened. I was wondering, were the FM gods going to punish me for all that cheese and, breaking the system here in MLS? So I started playing games, and I got a little ahead of myself, and I actually played out the whole first quarter of the season. Now, sometimes once the save gets rolling, I will play the seasons in quarters just to keep things rolling. But usually for the first season, I don't do that. I like to take a little bit more time in the first season. But we took a lot of time in the 2018 season. We had 10 episodes in the 2018 season for some reason. But so it's not terrible that we're moving this season along a little more. But I was hoping to be a little bit more, in depth with this season because it is our first season. But I did play out the first quarter because I had all these questions and problems. So we got a lot of questions to answer. And we're going to try to take a look at some of those now. And first, I guess we'll start off with the season. How are we doing in this first quarter of the season? Well, we're doing pretty good. The team didn't actually fall apart and fold. We're actually undefeated on the season. If you look even back to the friendlies, we have 2 draws in the friendlies. And now coming up this season, we also have 2 draws as the only blemish on our schedule. The last game you saw was the 3-2 victory over Columbus, and then we had the whole waiver draft cheeseburger fiasco. And we played Sporting KC shortly after, and I threw in a bunch of those players that we got in the waiver draft. Zach Steffen in goal, Keegan Rosenberry on the right wing, Jose in the central defense there. Anybody else going on there? Kiri Shelton came in off the bench. So we played a lot of those guys. We got a 1-1 draw versus Sporting KC. And actually, we were leading that game for most of the game. Fernando Adi scored, of course, in the 41st minute. And it wasn't until the 89th minute that Diego Rubio finally managed to tie it up for Sporting KC. After that, we had a nice 2-1 victory over Orlando. Again, Steffen in goal, Rosenberry in there. Who else in there? Aha came in off the bench. Then a 2-2 draw versus Columbus. So it's not like we're running away. It's not like we're smashing people and destroying everybody. We only beat them 3-2 without all these cheesy players. And now 2-2 draw after all the cheesy players, so maybe it's not that big a deal. I start to calm down a little bit at this point. Zach Steffen has a 6.3 rating, not so good. Miller comes in, Justin Glad comes in. Aha, of course, on defense as well. Kiri Shelton gets his first start at striker, plays well, 7.1 rating, not too bad. And we come back, have a nice victory, 2-0 over New York. Again, Steffen in goal. Again, Miller and Glad in defense. Kiri Shelton again at striker, 8.3 rating. At this point, Fernando Adi has gone out on international leave for Team USA. His first international, not Team USA, for Nigeria, I think, is where his nationality is. Anyway, he goes out on international leave for his first cap, so everybody's excited for him. But we now have a backup, Kiri Shelton. He comes in and he plays very well. So I don't think that our little waiver draft fiasco is really going to make us the most powerful team in the league. I think it's just going to make us the most consistent team in the league. It's going to make it so we can fill in bodies for every game, and we don't need to worry about losing players to injury and all that stuff. So it is going to help us out tremendously, but it's not going to make this, I think, a complete runaway season. Then finally, we have an excellent game with DC United. Steve Hudson comes in goal because actually Zendejas played. No, that was Chicago. What am I talking about? Steffen, because Zach Steffen went out on USA duty. Steve Hudson had to come back in, so maybe we do still have a role for Hudson. Maybe we don't necessarily need to trade him or move him on. He hasn't complained or anything like that yet about playing time, so he hasn't been that big of a deal, hopefully, and hopefully it won't be. But yeah, I wanted to show a couple highlights from this game because we had some interesting stuff happen, particularly with Hudson in goal. Let's see if we can watch just watch the key highlights so we can see some of Hudson's saves and things like that. Here's Wayne Rooney getting a bit of a free kick there, just wide. He tried to bend it in the short corner. Here's Hudson now, starting the attack. This is a kind of a long highlight, and it kind of shows, what our team can do and what our team is sort of, bad at. Here's Michael Barrios getting out wide, lots of space, crossing it back in. Birnbaum heads it out of there. Juicely, Wallace starts the counterattack for DC United. Here's Rooney, great pass forward to Stieber. Stieber, Areola running free on the right-hand side, and he scores. So that's the one problem our team has, is we are vulnerable to the quick counterattack. That can give us some serious problems this season, so we got to watch out for that. But here we are. This is just the kickoff highlight. I don't think anything particular happens here. There's Glad playing a defense. The young 22-year-old. We're going to take a look at him. Here's Barrios again. Down the right-hand side. Sends one in. Juicely. Oh, yeah, this is one. I didn't think anything was going to happen here, but here's Segura with a terrible back pass. Kiri Shelton playing that pressing forward, giving us a little bit of different dimension at striker. He's not the big target man who's going to sit there. He's a much more active player, and he takes advantage there. Here's DC United again with the throw-in on the near side. Stieber again looking to make a play. He is leg-whipped by Delgado. I thought that was going to be a penalty for sure. But here's Kiri Shelton now getting it to Michael Barrios. Barrios getting space. He got space all game long. They were not closing down on him at all. Great cross, back post. De Vries, the young draft pick. He's been a staple at left wing this season. He's been, a revelation, really, playing so well. We'll look at his stats later, but that's just an example of what he's doing. He's using that pace. Here's De Vries again on the free kick. Sends one in. Marquez heads it wide. But De Vries, not only is he participating as a fields player, he's participating as a special teams player, taking our corners, our free kicks, that kind of stuff. Here's a turnover. Kelly on the breakaway, and you're thinking, oh man, this is it. But Hudson with the save. Hudson back to his back line, makes another tremendous save. So the kid does have talent. He's not a wasted pick. That's what I was worried about. He's not a wasted pick, even if he doesn't start this season. He still has some talent and some value. There's a good steal by De Vries. Here's Rooney again with the free kick, and there's Hudson with another save. He may be a rookie too, but he's a very talented guy. They're just going to drop it back. Another long highlight here. And I think this is the final goal here. Miller getting it forward to Barrios again. Barrios getting some space. He's got two men on him at this point. They've learned a little bit of lesson, but they still can't really keep up with him. They leave De Vries wide open, and there we go. He scores the third goal, and that is it. So De Vries has been playing well. Barrios, when he's in there, has been playing well. Goalkeeping has been good. Lots of good stuff. So let's take a look at the competitions and see where we're at. Of course, we're first place in the Eastern Conference. We've got a 1-point lead over New England. Both of us have 7 games in, 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss for New England, 5 wins and 2 draws for us at Cincinnati. So go to the Supporters Shield, 2 points up on Minnesota, 4 points up on Houston and DC, and then down and down and down from there. Toronto FC down at the bottom of the league with 4 measly points. LA Galaxy, another huge disappointment, 5 points on the young season. Chicago, we saw them in the first game. We absolutely destroyed them in the first game. I didn't mention it that much. I was kind of looking at some other stuff, but I watched the replay of that Chicago game, and we outshot them 23-1, 13-1 on target, 58% possession. This is like what we were doing to second division teams and worse than second division teams. This is how badly we beat those teams. So I think Chicago is pretty bad this season. What do they look like? What does their roster look like? I mean, it looks okay. Can we take a look at their registration, their senior squad registration? We got 23 players on the roster. They don't have a lot in the way of salary cap. They got less than $100,000 left in salary cap. They do have 3 designated players, but for whatever reason, they're just not putting it together. And, some of this stuff here has made me worried a little bit about FM and MLS. I started looking at the registration for a lot of teams around the league. Colorado's okay. Columbus Crew, only 19 players on the roster, $4.2 million. So they got no room to maneuver here with only 19 players on the roster. DC United 24. We've got 28. That's pretty good. FC Dallas is fine, 25. Houston Dynamo, 22 players on the roster and no room to maneuver. LA Galaxy, 21 players on the roster. When you start getting close to 20 players on the roster, that's when you get in trouble, because you just don't have enough players to deal with the grind of an MLS season. LAFC, only 22 players. Minnesota United, only 19 players on their roster. Montreal's looking good at 29. New York City, this is a problem. This was a problem in FM18. New York City FC, they have only 16 players on their whole roster. 15 players is the minimum size, right? So if they lose 2 players, they're like, I don't know, ineligible or something. They must be playing like a bunch of gray players, but they've got no salary cap available. They got all these guys making all this cap impact money, and it's just ridiculous. And like I said, this was a problem in FM18 as well, specifically with New York City, but also other teams around the league. And for the most part, it happened in this second season, where the computer AI just doesn't know how to deal with the contracts that are on the team currently. So they just waive a bunch of players, and they got no way to replace them. So we look at their transfer history here, and look at all these players they just let go. I mean, some really good players too. Syed Abdul Salam is a good player. Let's see who else is on the list. Sean Johnson, we saw him. He's an excellent player. Clint Irwin is pretty good. Hatunji is pretty good. Like, just all these guys, they just had to cut and cut and cut until they could get down to their roster final, because they didn't want to cut their big salary players, when in reality, they should have found a way to move their big salary players and keep, a decent-sized roster. So we're going to have to wait a couple of seasons for teams like New York City to build their team back up with sensible contracts. And I tried to help them out, okay? I was feeling a little guilty after the whole, waiver draft fiasco. So I tried to trade them for Anton Tinnerholm, 28-year-old Swede. I think he's another right back, so I didn't really need him at all. I was going to sign him and trade him away or whatever. But what I wanted to do was get them some salary cap space, right? Because he's making $463,000. I think he's even hitting them for even more against the cap. I think he's hitting them for $530,000 against the cap. They wanted Steve Hudson, so I figured, okay, let's give them a crazy deal. Steve Hudson, 2 draft picks, and all of my allocation money, every last dime, $1.9 million in allocation money. And they refused it. I don't know if they just didn't want to get rid of Tinnerholm or what their deal was, but I tried a few different connotations of this for different players. I tried to give them this deal for just some scrub player on their team. And all they did was they renegotiated that deal, and they were like, okay, let's get rid of all these players and draft picks and just take the money for their scrub player. They wanted all of this $1.9 million for some guy who wasn't even worth half that. And I said no to that because I wasn't feeling that generous. But still, just the trading stuff needs to change. And maybe we can talk about that some other time. I've already blabbed on quite a bit for this episode. But anyway, I just wanted to show you things are going okay with the save, even though I thought that I had ruined them. In fact, dynamics are going outstanding. Match cohesion is a little low, but it's still average. Hierarchy is fine. All of those new guys we brought in just slotted right into influential players. So we just got a ton of, really good, really professional veterans. Stefan and, Kiri Shelton is there. Even Glad is there. So everybody just sort of is fitting in well with the team. We don't have a problem there. Social groups. These guys have formed their own social group. The Miracle 6 that we drafted, they've got their own social group, so they're fine. The 5 guys we drafted in the super draft are down here. They're fine. Some of the guys we got in the waiver draft are sort of floating around, but they're veterans. They'll come up to the core social group soon enough. Even Happiness is really good, extremely good. No problems. We got one guy who's slightly concerned here, Welshman, worried that he's going to get replaced, and that's well-founded. Promised not to sell the player, so he's not going to go anywhere. I don't think we have him transfer listed, do we? No, he's not transfer listed, so he's fine. He's not going to go anywhere, but he is a little concerned. So the season's going well. Things are going fine. We got a game today versus DC United again, so we'll take a look. Played a lot of these teams twice. Or did we just play that game? I think we just played that game. Okay, that's a problem. So we just beat DC United 3-1. I thought I was saving this game, but maybe not. No, that got us to our 7th game of the season, which is the quarter season spot. Okay, I'm going to pause it here, and we'll get through our next game versus Toronto and see how bad Toronto really is. Okay, we're back, ready to play. Here's the little MLS weekend preview. Looks like the game of the week is Seattle versus LA Galaxy. And, despite LA being at the bottom of the league, they still have that star power. And honestly, that brings me to something I forgot to talk about. There's a couple things I forgot to talk about. First of all, is we did have another transfer, another trade that did go through. Take a look at our transfer history. Go up to all trades here. And we did make a trade with LA Galaxy. I was feeling a little bad about every situation. So I traded away one of our waiver draft players, Keegan Rosenberry, traded him away to LA Galaxy for their first-round pick in the 2021 draft, just to give LA a little bit of a boost and, to give us a little bit of penance, get a draft pick. And honestly, Keegan Rosenberry, he's a good player, a very good player. Just after playing with him for a couple of games, he just didn't feel like my kind of player. I don't know. There was something about him that was a little off. He wasn't exactly what I wanted. And, our other player in that position, Miller was playing much better. He's much more my kind of player. Defensive-minded player, but who can also get forward and play offense some. Bigger, stronger player. Ratings very good, 7.23 ratings going on. So I decided to stick with Miller, trade Rosenberry. I gave him away for a song, basically, But again, I was just trying to help out some of these other teams in this year of transition that all these MLS teams are going to go through not really their own fault, but through the fault of the FM mechanics. And the other thing I forgot to talk about was the actual player stats and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to look at that and see where we're at. Of course, Fernando Adi, second in the league in goals with 6 goals on the season. Angelo Rodriguez from Minnesota, first. Most assists, Jeff DeVries, tied for third with 4 assists on the season. I tell you, this rookie, we singled him out in the combine. We drafted him, brought him in, and he's playing well. He is definitely the surprise of the season. Lucas Crispin running up and down the field from our advanced playmaker position, which is a little bit of a surprise. Normally, that's sort of a box-to-box midfielder kind of role, or even a fullback's kind of role to be running up and down the field this much, but Crispin got that high work rate. Nobody necessarily on tackles. Least concessions, our goalkeepers are not on this list, maybe because they've been splitting time a little bit too much. But we'll see. Maybe they'll get there. Actually, we haven't really had many shutouts or anything like that, so it's not surprising. Usually we get at least a goal scored against us every game, so it's not like we're that dominant. Most tackles, we're not really tackling all that much so far. Dribbles the same. Key passes, not on the list here. Tomas Martinez from Houston up at the top. Piatti from Montreal, Impact on the list. Blanco, Valeri, a lot of familiar names on this list. And best at hitting the target, Ronaldo Pena, again from Houston. Houston likes to have some very good offensive teams. Looks like defense might be their Achilles heel a little bit this season. Mauro Manotas playing well also for Houston. Players of the match, most players of the match, Adi with 2, DeVries with 3, so he's definitely being recognized by the league. And even this week, he was on the Team of the Week again this season. I think it's for his second time this season. Anyway, let's get to the game. We've done enough of this messing around. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It's probably going to be like another 45-minute type situation, but we'll see. Trying to keep them down to 30, but you never can tell. Corbin Bone got some fitness problems. Cam Lindley's been waived. He's on the waiver list. 21-year-old homegrown American player. No, not really what I'm looking for. So that's fine. LAFC beat Real Salt Lake this week. DC United beat Orlando City. Here we are. Toronto versus Cincinnati. Odds are 5-4 favorites for Cincinnati. 1,600 kickoff at Nippert Stadium. 22,431 tickets sold out of 40,000. So again, it's going to look like a half-filled stadium, but it's still a pretty decent crowd. It's kind of what I'm hoping for. Kind of what we want is right around that area, 22 to 25,000. We'll be looking pretty good. We'll be able to make a profit and all that stuff. Anything else interesting? 62 degrees and breezy. The referee gives out some yellow cards and such, but we haven't had a problem with that this season. Here's the lineup. I think we will actually bring Stefan in on goal. He's had enough time to rest. Everybody else, I think, is looking pretty good. No problems there. Let's see. I can't believe all this time and I didn't set this up. Adi is back as well. So I think we'll start him for Shelton. Put him back at target man attack. So there we go. We got Crispum and Adi have a little partnership going on. That's always good. And then we got another partnership in the middle with Alash and Delgado. We need a partnership on defense. Glad has kind of moved into the starting lineup. And he's a guy I didn't know very much about, but I'm sure if you follow MLS or if you're an RSL fan, you know all about this guy. Justin Glad. Been playing with them for quite a while. Came out of their academy. Started moved up to the senior team when he was only 16 years old. He's been in and out, going out to the Real Monarchs, playing some games out there. Played 28 games for RSL in 2016, 16 games last season. So he's a youngster. He needs playing time. He needs to play now, so we might as well get him in there. Put Fernando Adi as the captain this season. So if he has all that potential, he's a pretty good player. Might as well play him and see what he can do. So you saw our lineup: Stefan, Nuhu, Marquez, Glad, Miller in the back line, Alash, Delgado, De Vries on the left, of course, our main man. Still stats not showing up when they should. I really hate that. Fix Your Game FM. That was a great feature to have the stats pop up when you scroll over their number. Anyway, Adi and Barrios in. Meanwhile, Toronto's going with Willis in goal. Morrow and Vanderveel are still there at the fullbacks. Zavaleta and Chanot. Michael Bradley at defensive midfielder. Osorio, Warner, Giovinco on the left wing. Asparilla on the right, and Altidore up top. They still have a very dangerous attack, so we can't take anything for granted. Pep talk. Keep our run going. Let's go. Opposition instructions. Definitely tightly mark Altidore. Definitely tightly mark Giovinco. I don't know about pressing Giovinco, if that's the greatest idea in the world. Morrow, we definitely need to watch him tightly, and same with Vanderveel. They both like to get forward as fullbacks. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I haven't found much luck in FM19 with the formation here that Toronto is running. It just doesn't seem to work very well this season. It seems like attacking works pretty well in FM19, but we'll see. Altidore trying to make a run. Marquez, risky, diving header. Altidore almost got to it, but Stefan is there. That was a bit dangerous, boys. Let's calm down, hold it together. Waiting for the next highlight. Here we go. Zavaleta heads it out, but Delgado gathers it in. Crispum. Alash. Is anybody going to go out wide? We got some men open out wide. Alash gets it to De Vries. De Vries looking. He makes the play. Nuhu out wide. Nuhu takes the shot. Willis has to defend himself from that shot. It was straight at him. Now here we go. De Vries is going to take it. Far side. Sends one in short. Can't get to it, but Adi chases it down. Back out to De Vries. Adi charging for the front of the net. De Vries puts it on his left foot. Can't get it to him. Nuhu chases it down. We continue the attack. Delgado, Michael Barrios, his shot's deflected. Oh, there's a foul. Werner going to get a free kick right from the semicircle. See if De Vries can get another free kick goal. Nope. Willis is all over that one. Not a problem. So the one problem with our lineup right now is that we've kind of squeezed out Ledesma. He is odd man out at the moment because he's a little bit more valuable coming off the bench because he can sub in for all three advanced positions. Right? He can sub in left wing, right wing, or advanced playmaker. More long balls forward? Okay, we're definitely always keen to try a few more. Wild passes forward. Try to get him into Adi. Try to hit Barrios on the wing, streaking down the sideline. We got him on the attack. There's De Vries again with a free kick. Off the crossbar. Sliding attempt by Delgado. Delgado sneaking around there. This Willis character in goal for Toronto is playing pretty well. Valued at $1.3 million, 14 reflexes, 15 eccentricity. All right, here's Toronto trying to get one forward. Glad well ahead of the attack. Drops it back for Stefan. He bombs it forward for Delgado. Great header. Crispin out wide. There's Barrios on the run, using that speed. He's got Adi out front. Adi with the header. Over. Would have been a nice goal right there. that shows you just, the potential of Barrios. Here's DeVries sending one in. Alash heads it in. Again, that whistle throws me off. It's such a quick whistle for the goal. It sounds like an offside or something, but no. DeVries sending the corner in perfectly to Alash. Great header. That jumps him up to a 7.2 rating, and again we get the first half lead. Giovinco has been inspired by some kind of feedback from the coach. Meanwhile, we're looking pretty good. Delgado and DeVries a little bit tired, but not too bad. Coming up on halftime here. Not a lot of highlights. I guess that plays into our favor, but we do have 12 shots, 6 on target. We're out shooting them 3-1, 52% possession. Just can't handle our aggression right now. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of the 4-1-2-3 formation that was actually very good in FM18. Just seems very ineffective in FM19. I don't know what it is. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I think it's because everybody's on attack that you just get overwhelmed. So anyway, pep talk. Give him a pep talk. Guard against complacency. Oh boy. You stressed out some of the young lads. Glad. We'll be calm. Happy with your performance. Okay, he's okay with that. And then Alash. Come on, you're one of our veterans. What are you doing here? Happy with your performance. All right, he listened keenly to that. Okay, let's go. The true veterans knew what I was trying to say, right? Like, we've only got a 1-goal lead. Let's take it easy here. Let's get that second goal. Barrios with a bad touch there. Turns it over to Morrow, but Glad cleans it up at midfield. Trying to play that ball-playing defender role, even though I don't think I have him actually set for that. I think I just have him set for central defense. He's got a lot of potential. We just need to live up to it. We need to get our training facilities. We should have our training facilities very soon. If not, I thought it was going to be this week, so we may have already passed our training facilities. We're going to have to take a look at that and see if that's improved. So hopefully that will help our training, because our guys have been just not training very well, not gaining in abilities. You look at just about everybody down the list here. Stefan is no improvement. Miller, oh, here we go. Giovinco with the corner. He's always dangerous. Sends one in. Chanot with a little sneaky back header. Sort of let that bounce off the side of his skull and into the goal. Great free kick, or corner kick from Giovinco. Sort of unmarked guy. Stefan kind of fell over. He thought the ball was going low. So there we go. They tied it up on us. All right, analysis. Encourage our players to play a shorter passing game. Okay, we'll change that, because I was just about to do that myself, because we were, playing the long ball from the first half still. All right, 68 minutes. Stefan, goal kick out wide to Miller. Delgado, Barrios, he bombs it ahead for Adi. Adi is behind the defense, and there it goes. There it goes. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, so now we're going to play our little thing that we do, which is after we get ahead in the second half, drop the defensive line back, make some changes to lower the tempo and waste a little time. So there we go. Confirm the changes. Are there any players we need to take out? Delgado is a little tired. He's got a little bit of a bad rating. I think we can take Delgado out. Here's Giovinco on the corner. Headed just over. I think that was Michael Bradley. His big bald head in there. But yeah, let's make that sub for Delgado. Bring in Bessler. I think he can play ball winner, right? Yeah, 12 tackling, 12 marking. He's fine at the ball-winning midfielder. No problems. Anybody else who needs it? No. Miller's playing well again at that fullback position. Midfield, maybe we could use a little jolt in the midfield, but right now we'll save that for if it's necessary. Here's DeVries again. Free kick. Left footer, a lash wide open, and there he goes. He looked onside, but this might be VAR territory. Take a look at this replay and see if they give us the VAR overlay. DeVries, a lash. Easy goal. Just a little too easy. No VAR on that one. Clearly onside. There we go. 3-1. Taken over. Tolo's a little tired. DeVries is a little tired. But he's working on 2 assists right now. Again, using those special teams abilities that we drafted him for. He is playing so well. It always seems to happen. Rookies. Here's Giovinco trying to curl one in. Stefan with a stop with another stop. Bradley, defense. Oh, our defense is just in the way. I don't know if that's good defending or if that's luck. There's Giovinco continuing the highlight, taking the left foot shot. Bit of a scramble there, but we managed to keep Toronto off the scoreboard. 4 minutes of stoppage time. 2 minutes to go. It looks like we're going to get away with a pretty good win here. 30 seconds to go. Turnover at midfield. Nuhu has it. Up to a lash. Going to waste a little bit of time here in the midfield with Bessler. Bessler sends it out wide for Miller, who's getting forward, but he can't quite get forward. If that's where, maybe Rosenberry would have been a little better in that position because he was a little faster, but not by that much. So there we go. Again, another dominant performance. 23 shots, 12 on target. 54% possession. 18 fouls is a bit much, but no cards, so that's good. Lash with the best performance, 8.8 rating and 2 goals. Struggled to perform Michael Bradley. 5 mistakes on the back line, 6.1 rating. What's he looking like these days? He still looks really good at 31 years old. Still, one of the better players in MLS. So I don't know what his deal was on this day, but just wasn't having it. 3-1. It's pretty good. A lash with the player of the match, 8.8. 2 goals. Yeah. Pep talk. Very pleased. Let's go. Get out of here. Okay, so there we go. Start of the second quarter of the season. Cincinnati cruises to an easy victory. We're well over what we're expected to do. Just avoid finishing bottom of the league. How about avoid finishing top of the league? That might be harder to do at this point, but we'll see. Things can change. I've seen other people's saves just tank mid-season or near the end of the season where, they're winning and winning and winning, and then suddenly everything falls apart, dynamics falls apart, all that kind of stuff. I don't know that that's going to happen to us, but it could because we're a bunch of draft picks who have been brought together. Well, we'll see. We got the U.S. Cup coming up versus Charleston Battery. We'll be able to play some of our younger players against Charleston. That's no problem because we're starting in the second round. Way too early. The one last thing we need to look at, board. Improved training facility completed on 4/8. There we go. So we have our improved training facilities. Let's take a look at these bad boys. We're still at Xavier University. We're now up to good training facilities. Hooray! So maybe in a couple of years we can upgrade them again. Maybe we'll wait until we move into FC Cincinnati. I don't know. Maybe we've got a deal like LAFC built their training facilities also on a college campus, just so they could get that college campus vibe with all the young players. They could share facilities if necessary, even though they built their own terrific training ground. But it's just, a way to keep them embedded with the community. And, Xavier University is right there in the heart of Cincinnati. right? It's like 10 miles or less from Cincinnati University where we play in our stadium. So, anyway, slowly but surely improving the club. Okay, so what do we got next? I mentioned the U.S. Cup. That's not for a while. We got Atlanta United. We should probably look at that game. See what the top of the competition looks like. We've seen what the bottom of the competition looks like. Chicago and Toronto and New York. I guess, and Columbus. We played Columbus. They're in playoff position. But anyway, let's see what Atlanta United looks like. They are in third place right now, 3 points behind us. So not a big deal. Okay. We'll get to that game next episode. Until then, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.